So this is the video for regular MDC. I'm going to do the minis in a different video because theirs is very, very different. So you're going to start out same as we usually do. Make sure you prime everything, including your eyelids. And then if you want to do like foundation and concealer, you can do that, but it's not necessary. And then after that, you're going to go in with your powder, which looks like this. It's a loose powder this year. This is the same kind I use like whenever I wear makeup. So it's like this big puffy thing, and the way that I usually do it is I just like shake it back and forth to get some on the brush, and then just go and rub like all over. You can also like pat, but it's faster if you just rub it. So that's what I do. I just get it all over, including your eyelids. This is like an extra coverage one. But it's really good at making everything like matte, not oily or anything. Okay. So then after that, this is when you would go in and you would do your eyebrows. I don't usually do mine because they're pretty dark compared to my hair, but you would pick this is the palette this year. Whatever color in here looks the most like your eyebrows. And I usually do mine, if I do mine, with like a flat brush. I had one. Okay. With a flat brush. Kind of like that. Yeah. And just go in and kind of do like you're drawing in little hairs. Okay. So after you do that, if you're doing that, you're going to go in with kind of a fluffy-ish brush. And you're going to cover the whole eyelid with Sunbeam, which is this lightest shade over here. And that's going to be all the way from your eyebrow to your lash line. And this is just kind of our good light base color. It does have a little bit of a shimmer to it. But as you'll see when you look at the palette, there is more sparkle this year, which I always like the way that looks from stage. I think it makes your eyes look like brighter and bigger, which is usually the look I go for when I do my own makeup. Okay, so then after that, just kind of for more base, you're going to go in with a sort of a smaller, rounder, fluffy-ish brush, and you're going to go in with Dawn, which is not all of them, but most of them have like little imprints on them. It's the cupcake one, which I mean, those will go away when you guys use them. But that's going to be from your lash line up to your crease. So just the part over your actual like eyeball. So this one's a little bit darker. It's just kind of like our base shade to work with on your actual eyelid. So just back and forth until you have that all covered. Okay. All right. So, I mean, you can't really see that, but it's a little darker on my eyelid and then still pretty light up here. So after, this is kind of like the flag thing that we usually do, but we're doing it just like a little bit differently. So I'm going back in with another flat brush like I had showed for the eyelids. And you're going to use Dusk, which is this darkest color down here in the corner. And you're going to go in and draw my mirror so I can, oh, that doesn't work. Okay, just kidding. So you're going to draw up on a diagonal a little bit, like where your eyeliner would go, like where your wing goes, up like that. And then connect that through to your crease. So it is that same flag shape, it's just a little more like streamlined since we're using a flat brush. So you're kind of just making like an outline with your crease. I'm going to do that on the other side too. This eyeshadow, same as last year, it is pretty buildable. So like when you first put it on, it doesn't appear super dark. At least for me it doesn't, but I don't know, maybe I have like a light hand or something. But you might have to go in like a couple times to get it dark, because this is the darkest shade that we're working with. So this is like the shadow that we're trying to make to really define our eye shape. Okay, so that doesn't have to be perfect, but you can kind of see that I have like that flag-ish thing going on. So then after that, you're going to go in with, I'm using the same round brush as before. You can use a different one if you want, but you're going in with Biscuit, which is the one right next to Dusk down here at the bottom, like the second darkest shade. And you're just kind of going to go through where you just went with that flat brush and just blend it out with that slightly lighter color. So you're blending up a little bit towards your brow bone, and then on the side here, you're blending in more towards like the inside of your eye. And just trying to soften that a little bit so it's not such a harsh line. On both sides. So then for me, especially on this side, and I don't know why it's always the side that this happens with, when I blend a lot more and it feels like all the dark, that dusk color, it's like all gone. So I'm going to go back in and kind of repeat the last two steps with the flat brush and then the, with Dusk and then Biscuit until I feel like you can see the definition really well, but it's also blended through and there aren't really any like super harsh lines. I'm going back in my crease a little bit, just building up a bit more shadow. And you guys can probably see I have very like hooded eyes, so I pull back like this a little bit when I'm working with my eyes. You don't have to do that. That's just works for me. Honestly, I've done my own makeup since I started MDC when I was 11. Just because of like our schedules and stuff to get ready for competitions, I kind of had to, or for performances and stuff. And makeup isn't like something my mom does a ton. So really you just have to kind of figure out the techniques and stuff that work best for you. I know my techniques probably aren't perfect, and aren't like exactly what you're supposed to be doing, but they work for me. At the end of the day, I get on stage and my makeup looks pretty good, and that's really like just what it's about. So okay, so I'm gonna go back in, blend just a teensy bit more. Okay. Okay. So now, next step, we are gonna go in with RSVP, which is the sparkly shade up in the corner on the top row. And I'm using another flat brush for this, but it's more of a rounded edge. It's not like a rectangle. But I'm going in with that shade just up like along my crease and then all the way down to my lash line. So this is where we put, what shade was that? Dawn earlier. But this is just going in and adding a bit of sparkle over the top of that. So now I've got the sparkle going on. It is a pretty like sharp line right with my crease. So this might not happen for you, but when I'm doing my makeup, I often go back with like any of the shades that I use just wherever I feel like I need to blend it out. So like right now, I feel like there's a really sharp line from where there's the RSVP to where I was doing those two darker shades. So I'm going to go back in with Biscuit and just go along my crease one more time to just blend that out. Because for the most part, you don't really want sharp lines in your makeup at all. You want everything pretty seamless and blended, and that makes it look not natural, but I don't know, smoother. Okay, so that's the eyeshadow. It looks pretty orange in the video, but you'll see the actual shades. It's really just like different shades of brown. They're not super orange, but they're pretty neutral, and I mean other than the sparkles. But so after that, after you have your eyeshadow done, you're gonna go in with your eyeliner. So this year it's a liquid eyeliner, and it's like a marker on the end there. That's my favorite like style of eyeliner to use. I'm not gonna use one of these. I'm just gonna use my own. But it's the same thing. It's just a little bit shorter. So I know I explained this to a lot of people last year at the makeup class, but I always struggled to not get my wings to look weird because of the way that my eyelids are. So the way that I found best is, I have my mirror here, but if you look right at yourself and you keep your eyes open and you draw that line up towards the edge of your eyebrow from that corner of your eye, just draw that up, and then looking forward, not closing your eye, if you just fill out that triangle to how you would want your wing to be. Then when I close my eye, well, this one actually looks pretty good, but normally it's kind of bumpy, but it doesn't really matter what your eyeliner looks like when your eye is closed. It just matters what it looks like when it's open. So draw the triangle when you're looking straight, and don't worry about it there being like jumps in it. And then just fill out the rest of the line over your eyelid. Okay, and then the other side, same thing. Hopefully you guys will be able to see it a little bit better on this side. But I don't think I can do this just looking at my phone. Okay. Okay, yeah. So there you can see how there's like this little gap right there. But if I open my eye, that's not there. I mean, I don't have the bottom all the way filled in yet, but it'll look fine. You just gotta trust the process. Okay. So it's pretty good. The bottoms of my wings are always a little messy. So this is just what I always do. I use like micellar water for my makeup remover, and I always have it with me when I'm doing my makeup too. But I'll take a cotton round, and you can do this with a makeup wipe also, and then fold it so you have like a sharp edge, and then I just take it on the underneath part and just go up along it like this. And then it sharpens out the bottom of that wing. And it gets you to have a lot like sharper of a point there without having to draw it like that, because I really struggle with that. Also, I know some of you guys have used the pins. You can get pins that they're really similar to the like eyeliner markers, but instead of like pigmented eyeliner, it's like makeup remover, and those work really well too. I just don't have one of those. Okay, so you can, this next step you can do earlier if you want. I don't know why I always like doing it right after my eyeliner, but we're gonna go in on the bottom, like with your bottom lash line, with the same flat brush we used before with Dusk, and we're just gonna line the bottom of our eyes a little bit, just to give a little bit of definition down there. And I don't even go all the way across. I just go right under my eyelashes, across to like if I'm looking forward, kind of the middle of my pupil, or over to the side of my iris, like around there. It's just to get a little bit more definition on the underneath part of your eye. Okay. All right. So then after that, you have mascara. It's the same mascara as last year, the Lash Princess one. So yeah, this is just kind of like, you know, apply it how you usually do. Make sure that if you, it doesn't right now, but sometimes when you take it out, there's little like globs on the end. I always try and like brush those off. That way you don't end up with those stuck on your eyelashes, because that's always kind of annoying to deal with after. Okay, so top and bottom lashes. I usually just do like one coat. I go over my top lashes, and then I do my bottom lashes, and then I touch up my top lashes. But again, if you feel like your eyelashes look better with 2 coats, come back and do a second coat. Just got some on my nose. If you're happy with one, just do one, you know, kind of figure out what works best for you. Especially if you are doing your own makeup, or really anybody, practicing really does help. I mean, that sounds like, you know, kind of, it's something that you hear a lot in your dance classes, that practice and everything, but getting mascara all over myself. It really does help. Okay, so now eyelashes are done, and that kind of finishes out our eyes, at least for right now. We come back in with highlighter a little bit later, but okay, so this step you only like have to do if necessary, but after I do my eyes, sometimes I have like fallout from the eyeshadow. That doesn't really seem to be happening very much with these palettes that we've gotten the last couple years, which is really nice. But either way, I like to just brush underneath one more time with my powder before going in with like blush and everything. Which my cheeks already look pretty red. Right before this, I just did the like trial of the makeup to make sure I liked what I was planning to do with it. And then I had to take it all off to then do it again for the video. So my skin's a little angry at me, but okay. I'm that, you're gonna go in with the blush. So you guys are getting, it's a highlighter blush combo. I'm not gonna be using one of these. I didn't get one for myself. So I'm gonna use the blush from last year. That's a similar-ish shade, and I'll use a highlight from a different palette that I have. But for the blush, you're going to use a big poofy brush and then go under your cheeks and curve up a little bit along your cheekbone on both sides. And then we're also going to bring it across the nose just a little bit. Just so we look nice and rosy. And same thing as the eyeshadow that I said earlier. When you're doing all your different like face things, always feel free to kind of go in with products that you've used before or colors that you've used before to kind of touch up along the way. Like if you feel like your blush gets too close to your eyes, like where you don't want it, you can go back in with your powder and just like touch up underneath. I usually end up doing that. So then after blush, we're going to do a little bit of like contour. So we're going to be using Biscuit again. And then I like to use like an angled brush for my contour. And like a fluffy one, but not huge. So I always we're going to go under our cheekbones, down towards our mouth on both sides. And then from there, we're also going to go down our jawline and then underneath our jawline and make sure that you blend down. So we don't want like to see the super harsh line right there. But the more like definition you have, the better it's going to look on stage. And then also like up along your hairline a little bit. Just add a little bit of shadow, especially like right here. Those are the two spots I focus with on my forehead. My cheeks look really red. They don't look like that in person. Okay. And then I also always go along the edges of my nose. And to do that, I take my brush and I just kind of like squish it so it's a little fanned out. And then go in and then go along the sides and up my eyebrow a little bit. And if you usually do a little bit more contouring, like, you know, there and everything else, like, that's fine too, but okay. So then after that, we're going to do highlight. So you guys are going to be using the highlight that goes with the blush. I'm going to be just using my own, but I usually apply highlight with my finger. Like I use my ring finger. There are specific highlighter brushes that they look kind of like what I did with the contour brush, where they just look like a fan like that. I just don't have one of those, and my finger always like works fine for me. So you're going to take the highlighter and you're going to go like over the tip of your nose and just rub it around in a circle, and then up along your nose also, especially focusing on this spot like right between your eyes, but blending there and there. And then up high on your cheekbones, like the boniest part right here, on both sides. On your brow bones, right under the hair for your eyebrow. And then this is the one that always seems like it makes the biggest difference for me, but right in the corners of your eyes. And then make sure that you kind of blend that up into your eye a little bit and like underneath just a tiny bit. Okay. So then after that, all we have left is lips. Your guys is like this like black cherry kind of color. I'm Again, I didn't order myself one of those since I'm not going to be using them for competitions and stuff. So this is the same brand that I use whenever I compete or perform. I'm just using my own color that isn't as dark as your guys's. But with this, it's liquid lipstick and it's matte. I've never had issues with it drying out. I've seen like reviews and stuff that sometimes people say it's hard to remove, but I've never had issues with that. But I start by lining my bottom lip. And then filling that in. And squishing my lips together. And then brushing up to finish lining my lips. And then, just make sure that it's even on both sides. I'm not always the best about that. But it is liquid, and it will dry to the point where it's not really an issue with like transferring or anything, but you do have to wait a second, so don't like talk like a ton after you just do it, or if you do, make sure you check your teeth after and make sure you don't have lipstick on your teeth. But yeah, that is pretty much it. There, you can kind of see it a little bit better now, but pretty sparkly. And I have some like leftover sparkles from when I took my makeup off. I didn't do a great job since I was just putting it back on, but yeah, that's the MDC makeup for 2023.